Could the San Francisco 49ers be interested in a new kicker? Well, what we're seeing right now is, according to Ryan Fowler, the San Francisco 49ers have looked into Andres Borregales, Miami Hurricanes kicker at the Shrine Bowl. And it's basically the 49ers are listed as one of the teams that have spoken with him. Now, this is an interesting development because clearly the 49ers drafted Jake Moody in the third round just 2 years ago. And could the 49ers really be interested in moving off Jake Moody and drafting potentially another kicker? When you look at what Andres did last year, he only missed one kick, and it was between 40 and 49 yards. Everything else he made, he was 62 of 62 on extra points. So he's a pretty good kicker. And it's funny, the last time I was here at the Senior Bowl, his brother was kicking, and I remember covering his brother here. And even Andres, I covered him when he was kicking versus Cal. So he is a pretty solid kicker. He's definitely got good aura for a kicker, I will say. Again, not going to pretend to be a kicking expert in regards to evaluating kickers. But he's got a lot of confidence. He's got some swag. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the 49ers are going to be moving off of Jake Moody, a third-round draft pick just 2 years ago? I know a lot of 49er fans are ready for a change at that position. I have mentioned how Jake Moody's struggles this past season are really hard to look beyond, because at the end of the day, this is a production business, and the kicking position is so cut and dry when it comes to production, because everyone knows if a kicker is good or not, because it's based on making the kicks. And if you're not making the kicks, then people are going to want to look in a different direction. And so, although Jake Moody was pretty solid before he got injured, it was a different story after he got injured, and just kind of seemingly looked like his confidence was lost. It all came to a boiling point in Tampa Bay when Moody and Tabor Pepper and Deebo Samuel all got into this big altercation that even got physical, and it just kind of boiled over. And I think that was a pretty strong indication that things haven't been going well for the kicking position, specifically Jake Moody, and probably how a lot of people are maybe teammates inside that building are feeling. Moody had mentioned that if you don't have your confidence, you don't have anything as a kicker, and it just seems like he's lost his confidence. I don't think Jake Moody doesn't know how to kick a football. I think he absolutely does. I think he could be a good kicker, but for whatever reason right now his confidence is a little shaken. And so what I think the 49ers are thinking is something similar. Is, do we just outright cut this guy and have him go to a different situation and become the kicker that we thought he could be when we drafted him? So I think that's the hesitation right now. And of course, they drafted him with a third-round draft pick, and that is a big-time investment for a specialist. And it was, again, one of the reasons why many spoke out against the pick. Was just, could have been an edge rusher, could have been someone else, that the woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's always going to come into play when it comes to, potentially missing on a draft pick. But at the end of the day, when you drafted that guy, when you drafted Moody in the third, you expected him to be your kicker for a long time, and you expected him to make his kicks. And so with him not doing that, it is interesting that we are hearing this report that the 49ers are potentially poking around at another draft-eligible kicker. My thoughts are I would prefer not to draft a kicker. The 49ers also drafted Mitch Wisnowski in the fourth round, and it also appears that they're going to have to be finding a new punter as well because of the chronic back issues that Mitch Wisnowski has. So I understand that those positions are important. Kickers score a lot of points. Punters change change the field placement and can flip fields and do all of that. But the 49ers have proven that they can find guys to fill that role and don't necessarily need to draft them. So if it was up to me, I wouldn't look to draft another kicker. I wouldn't look to draft another punter. Those would be positions that I would either fill through free agency or just signing. I don't think that, you took a swing, you invested the draft pick, but anything I would say above a 6 would not make me feel very good. So we'll see what the 49ers do and what their plans are at kicker. I do think it makes sense to have Brant Boyer come in and get an assessment of Moody and get a feel for him. And who knows, like maybe Boyer can unlock a confidence that maybe was just missing, and maybe you never know. So I think at minimum it would make sense for the 49ers to bring in another kicker and have a kicking competition. Now, remember, the 49ers they actually traded for Zane Gonzalez from the Panthers, and Moody started his career with a kicking competition. Obviously, he won the competition, but we had 2 kickers throughout that training camp of his rookie season. So I would imagine that they do something similar again. I think that emulating that type of pressure might be a good thing for Moody. Just understanding that, he's potentially kicking for his job. And so every kick in practice means something, right? So just being able to somehow replicate that pressure to see how he can perform under those circumstances. And if he performs and he's able to make all his kicks in that situation and he beats out another kicker, then okay, he remains the kicker, right? Because he won a competition. So I know a lot of fans are ready to move on, but I'm having a hard time potentially drafting another kicker. I know the 49ers are going to have 10 draft picks heading into this one, 6 original, 4 compensatory, but it definitely seems like something that would be difficult to get behind, drafting another kicker, especially anything above the 6th round. So, or before the 6th round. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I do think it will probably be a competition in camp. They'll probably sign a free agent, punter as well. And we'll go from there. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.